Welcome back to the Chow Time Pod. It's your host, Red. I got a video today from Psych Hacks. Dr. Orion did a really good video on rejecting women, how it's a skill that needs to be acquired. So please like and subscribe down below. I'd really appreciate that. And let's get to that chow. It's chow time.
I'm Dr. Orion Taraban, and this is Psych Hacks, Better Living Through Psychology. And the topic of today's short talk is rejecting women is a skill. Men, this is extremely important to learn how to do for several reasons. First and foremost, you must understand that wanting is free. That is, it costs the wanter absolutely nothing to want things. But it costs the giver something to give things. So there is actually this inherent asymmetry in wanting and giving. Wanting is free, giving is costly. This is why it's actually a fairly decent interpersonal strategy to want a lot of things. This is because it's a low cost, low resource strategy that every once in a while will actually succeed in securing the wanted thing.
Yeah, that makes sense that women have so many wants in life then, because they're just tossing all their wants out there, and if they happen to get whatever they want, they're happy. I don't think it happens so well for men. I mean, we also throw our wants out there, but we also have to achieve those wants. We have to actually work towards it. It isn't just given to us.
So it's almost like magic. Through wanting, you are sometimes able to conjure value out of nothing simply by wanting it from the right person.
Ooh.
Add to this the social script that men are taught from boyhood, that their role is a provider in a relationship, and you have the perfect conditions for an unconscious reinforcement protocol. On the one hand, there is little incentive for women to stop wanting things from men because, at least every once in a while, the wanting works. So it's maintained through variable reward schedules. And on the other,
this is the whole simp thing, right? As long as she keeps wanting, there's going to be a simp out there that's going to give her what she wants. So she can just keep wanting, and hopefully, in her mind, someone's going to give it to her, right? For us, because they are giving her all these extra things because she's wanting them, now the men that want a real relationship are seeing all these gifts and all these things thrown at them. They're like, well, I used to get all this, so why should I stay with you?
On the other hand, men are often punished for not giving women what they want, usually with emotional punishments like shame, guilt tripping, and withholding. And so the male behavior is maintained through negative reinforcement. It's a simple trap, but it ensnares millions of men. The fact of the matter is that most people, especially women, will never stop wanting things from you. And the more successful you become, the more people will want more things from you. And this is
a good psychology right here that I don't think a lot of us men kind of realize. So I'm glad this is a really good topic.
Certainly true in the sexual marketplace. The more successful you are with women, that is, the more optionality you have, the more desirable you are, the more attractive you become, more women are going to want more things from you. Their wanting is free. However, your giving will cost you time, energy, opportunity, and money. This is why it is very, very important to learn how to reject women. Whether you like it or not, you have limited quantities of these resources.
Correct.
And if you spend them as if they were unlimited, you will eventually find yourself depleted and alone. This is because women generally don't stick around when you have nothing left to give. And among the various resources spent by givers, the limiting factor, especially the more successful you become, is time. Time is your most precious resource.
Yeah, this is why a lot of affluent, like top echelon men just pay for the box. They just pay for it. They don't want to have to deal with dating. They don't have to deal with this. They just pay how much ever they pay, get their, bust a nut, and then off you go. And they've actually said it because they have more money than they do have time.
Simply wanting time is not sufficient grounds to give it. I'd want my time too. So, just like you're not out there on the street handing out $100 bills to everyone who asks, you can't give your time to everyone who requests it.
Correct.
Men must learn to reject women. Now, before I go any further, if you're liking what you're hearing, please consider sending this video to someone who might benefit from its message. It's word of mouth referrals like this that really help to make the channel grow. And if you're thinking about going
I'll link everything down below.
to grad school, be sure to check out my personal top-rated GRE self-study program at stellargre.com. You can use 10%. You can use the coupon code PSYCH to get 10% off all membership plans. It's fantastic. Now, the main reason why guys really struggle with rejecting women, besides the cultural scripting mentioned earlier, is scarcity mentality. Most men do not have options with women, and this puts them in a place where it's really tough for them to reject them, even when the women are obviously not good for them. It's like if I only had one client, it would be pretty tough for me to say no to that client, even if his requests deviated from my standard practice.
Correct.
I'd be caught between my values and my livelihood, which is a pretty difficult place to be. I might need that client more than that client needs me, which would put me in a disempowered position relative to that client. This is why success and optionality can actually make men more virtuous, as they are not pulled to compromise their values for any one person or opportunity. So a lot of guys just can't fathom saying
being able to reject women and having options makes you more virtuous. I agree, because you're able to reject, you're able to hold on to your values because you're not desperate to be with these women and to bend your values to be with these women, which I believe a lot of men are doing right now.
no to a woman because that woman is like their only client. However, let's now assume that you're actually a successful guy who has increased optionality with women. Another reason why guys struggle with rejecting women is that, for lack of a better word, they fear their emotional response. They are afraid that saying no will provoke the woman's anger or jeopardize the continuation of the relationship. And let's be real, that can certainly happen. There are a lot of entitled women out there who are used to being daddy's little princess and have not experienced enough personal rejection from men. She has yet to develop the emotional callus that would enable her to treat no as information and not a personal affront. So while it's possible that a woman may storm out of your life if you don't give her what she wants,
who cares?
It's probably for the best that she created a vacancy.
Right?
A lot of guys fear this negative emotional reaction because of the way that they were brought up. Maybe they grew up with mothers or sisters who were tyrannical and emotionally manipulative, and with fathers or brothers who were unwilling or unable to stand up to them. Spending the first 18 years of their lives in this environment trains men to believe from a very young age that a relationship with a woman is predicated on catering to her desires or else. And that is absolutely not the basis of a
Tell the truth, that's how I grew up and saw society. You know, like my parents was a different dynamic, but how I saw outside of my family was exactly this.
healthy or fulfilling relationship for either party. However, if a man does not challenge this script, he can find himself in all kinds of really difficult relationships as an adult. So you need to be able to reject women in order to safeguard your limited resources. But why is this a skill? It's a skill because you can learn to reject women in ways that actually make them feel better as a result. Believing that rejecting another person will hurt them is kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you go into an interaction with the assumption that you're about to deliver a painful, hurtful piece of news that will be difficult for the other person to hear, you might be training the other person to feel hurt as a consequence of your delivery.
Interesting.
Consider the possibility that you could actually leave a woman better than you found her as a result of rejecting her. Don't believe me? Let me give you a quick example from my own life. Several years ago, I had a first date with a woman. We met for a drink, had an easy, flirtatious conversation with good chemistry, and went our separate ways. A week later, I texted her to schedule a second date. 2 minutes after I sent the text, she called me on the phone. And we had a 3-minute conversation that, I swear to God, basically went like this. She said, Orion, I got your invitation. And here's the thing. I know, based on our date last week, that you're a man that I could fall deeply, passionately in love with. You're attractive, you're intelligent, you're successful. You have everything that I'm looking for in a man. And because of that, I'm afraid of losing myself in a relationship with you. So while I'm tempted by what you're offering, I have to stay away, as I'm just so attracted to you and wouldn't know how to control myself.
Oh, dude, this guy's a poem. It's like a poet right here. He's so awesome.
And I said, all right, well, thanks for letting me know. And if you change your mind, you know how to find me. And we hung up. And I left that conversation feeling like $1,000,000. I mean, what just happened? This woman said no to me. She said no to a second date. Let's not have any illusions about this. She rejected me. But she rejected me in such a way that I felt really good about being rejected. Her rejection was like a compliment. Now, she was probably just feeding me a line, but that doesn't really matter. The point is that rejection doesn't have to be a painful, hurtful experience for the recipient if you approach it in the right way. This is why rejecting women is a skill, and all successful men must master it. What do you think? Does this fit with your own experience? Let me know in the comments below. And if you've gotten this far, you might as well like this episode and subscribe to this channel.
That was some good chow. Through my experience, I've always been just busy myself, so I've always just told women I'm busy. You know, like, oh, I got a meeting in Temecula, or I got to do this in LA, or I got to go to San Diego, or whatever it is. I'm usually that busy, though, so I've never had to actually give that type of rejection that woman gave to him. That was actually an interesting rejection. So as men, I think, yes, we do need to learn these skills, even if we don't have anybody to reject yet. These are important skills because you don't want to be desperate to that woman that just shows up out of nowhere, because that woman might not be good for you, right? And you have to have the balls to be like, sorry, I don't think you're good for me. I'll wait for something else. Please like and subscribe down below. I'd really appreciate it. And I'll catch you guys next time. It's Chow Time.